Today we're delivering free firewood to qualifying seniors that are age-based and income-based. They apply for it. And we have about 150 clients that we're trying to serve. We give them 1.5 cords for free. It's just a supplement to their warming of their house. So that's it as far as what we're doing here today.
Today we're having a mass delivery of other people, like-minded folks in the community that want to help out. Some of those are not as fortunate as the rest of us. I wish we could do even more, but this is our way of giving back to the community.
Yeah, it's a volunteer position. Don't get paid very much. It's good friendships, it's a free exercise program, and it's helping out people that need it.
There's probably 24 volunteers that work with the program, went out and gathered this wood from people's houses, cut it, split it, and got it ready for this moment, which is Delivery Day. And Delivery Day is a pretty special event. The community comes out in support of this program and the seniors to make sure that there's an ample amount of heat this winter. Of course, it's really hard to imagine that, being it's almost 80 degrees out here today in November, but picture yourself in February and March and just being really chilled to the bone. This wood heat is what takes that chill off and really can help some of our seniors stay healthier during the winter, because when they're warm, they don't get those sicknesses. They're not susceptible as much. It's a good, heartwarming feeling. I mean, you talk about warmth, it's not just warmth for them, but for the people who do it.
So growing up in a community where you feel welcomed, without judgment, and grow up in a safe environment, I want to give that back. I'm Shannon Moon. I'm a captain at the Sheriff's Office, and anytime we can interact with the public in a positive way and not necessarily in the enforcement role that I have in this community, it definitely gives us a best perspective of how we can help.
I'm going to be 75 years old in a couple of weeks, and I'm very healthy. So, I haven't had to, other than this wood, I've been taking care of myself. My husband passed away 13 years ago, and that's, each year gets a little harder and a little harder. But just seeing this, I feel like one of the lucky ones.
The uniqueness about this program is that it's all community-based, where we have people that are donating the tree, that the volunteers now go to their home, they cut it, and then they bring it to a yard that is also being donated for us to use by a company, by a local business. And we, at that facility, cut and split the wood, and from there we deliver it. So all of this is community-based. We do not receive any federal, state, county, or local financial support. It is so for the community, by the community.
So the Senior Firewood program is an amazing, unique program that is run on dedicated volunteer time. Our volunteers are amazing. They don't just check in and check out and spend an hour a day or a set amount of time. They really take their volunteer work home with them. If they see a tree down, they're going to go ask their neighbor if they need help removing the tree. If they see a client in need, I've had so many volunteers on their own time help a client or make sure that a client receives firewood and stays warm. The program is really cyclical too, and it doesn't really just benefit the program participants only. It really helps the community. When a tree falls down or a tree is cut down and a property owner has to remove that tree, most of them have no idea where to go about that.
I think, when we have seniors in need in our community, and we have about 140 seniors that participate in the Senior Firewood program with a waiting list of 16, and that's just the seniors that we know. that, you know, we are serving that are super low income. You may have a senior that is low income that chooses to have a blanket instead of having the firewood. They may have mobility issues, or they may just not even know that we can provide that service. And one of our goals as an agency is to bring that awareness that in our community there's still needs out there for firewood, especially in the senior population, and that as together as a community, we can meet that need.
Yeah, I have a story. It's relatively long. I'll shorten it. This area is very rural in some spots, and we had one client who called and needed wood and told us how to find her place. But it was one of these dirt roads with all the bumps in it and ruts. And she said, when you get to the gorilla, turn left. We didn't quite know what that meant, so we drove down this dirt road, and sure enough, there was about a 6-foot stuffed gorilla tied to a tree. We turned left at the gorilla and found her house. There were no numbers anywhere. We've never found it without that clue. That's the funniest one we've had.
You know, it's not really stories. There's too many. There's been some great people. You know, we've got some. There's a gentleman, and I actually thought he was going to be here today. He was, 94 years old. One of our clients. He's a D-Day veteran. Guy was on Normandy, storming the beach. We've got people that are 100+ years old that we're providing this to, and it enables them to stay in their home.
Got a call in the middle of the night. I was working late, and the lady says, I need more firewood. I just burnt my husband's table. And I went, what? Fortunately for me, I grew up with that family, called the son and said, get over to your mom's house before she burns it down. There's some things that come out of this program that are well beyond delivering firewood. It's connecting with the community, and having that extra connection and being at the end of the phone when it rings, I think is just as important.
What we can always use volunteers. It's like I said, it's a Monday through Tuesday for going out and getting the wood, Thursday for splitting the crew. We're always looking for volunteers. You don't need a truck, you don't need a chainsaw. We prefer you had a truck and a chainsaw, but we have all of that stuff.
Most of the volunteers are senior citizens themselves. Somebody that can afford to take a day off and do a wood program to help other people.
We started with about 200 cords this year, and right now, I haven't looked, but I'd almost say we only have about 30 cords left. I think by the end of today, it'll be gone, which is kind of a sad thing because there are those seniors that are going to need a little bit of extra help if we have a long winter, and it may not be there. So next process is to start bringing the wood in for next year, and the cycle goes over again.
So it means a lot, and being out here just helping people for the community is just something that means a lot to me and a lot of people out here, because it's something which isn't a whole lot. There are other things that could be a lot more, but this is a big thing to do, and it may not mean a lot, but for the people who you're helping out for, it's a big thing for them.
Some people load up the firewood to the trucks, other people go and actually deliver it, and it opens your eyes as to what is really needed out there in our community when it comes to basic needs. And being warm in your home is one of those basic needs that a lot of us take for granted, and for many seniors in our community, that is something that they have to struggle every year, and our goal is to make that less of a struggle and help them.
We form that relationship with our clients that is not just, here's wood, we'll talk to you next year. It is amazing how much I receive Christmas cards and thank yous, and it's amazing to know how our clients are doing, and they definitely make sure and let us know how much they appreciate our time and the volunteers' time and the donors' time.
Like I said, that heartwarming feeling, but knowing that the good miles that I still have on my back can contribute to somebody that doesn't have that kind of mileage left on their back. I don't mind doing the heavy lifting for somebody else.
My name is John Christensen. I'm the director of the museum. This is the Nevada County Narrow Gauge Railroad Museum. We're part of the Nevada County Historical Society. We're one of their 3 museums. Our museum or group was established on August 25th, 1983. It took us quite a few years to collect equipment and finally find a home or a building site to construct the museum. And that was begun in 1999 and construction completed in 2001. Most of the equipment we have here are from the late 1800s to early 1900s. Our most notable piece of equipment is Nevada County Narrow Gauge Engine number 5, which is inside the museum building on display. It was built in 1875 and worked on another railroad in South Lake Tahoe until 1899, and then it was purchased for our railroad. The engine was here until about 1940, and it was sold to Review Studios down in the Burbank area, and then became part of Universal Studios property, and then it was in the movie industry until 1985, and that's the year we brought it back home. As a child, I had a railroad running right near our house, so the Santa Fe. So as a kid, I'd hear the whistle of the train, and I'd take off to go watch it. I collected Lionel trains for many years, and then of course when I got older, I had other interests. The shop right now is my favorite part of the museum because this is where we do all our restoration work. I have a great group of guys working here. We're able to accomplish a lot of complicated restorations here. It was built the same time the museum was built. Started in '99, but we did add on to it later in 2006, I believe. So it expanded the shop. It's given us more room to work and store some of the equipment. Take the car behind me, for instance. That's a 1904 built Denver and Rio Grande Western stock car. That car, when we started on it, was literally falling apart. It demanded our attention, and so we finally brought it in, dismantled it completely. What we decided to do was reverse engineer this car back to as built. There were a lot of changes made to the cars, so we had to do a lot of research, reverse engineering it back. I think one of the more difficult cars was the rail bus, the one you rode on today. That took a couple of years. After we finished the restoration, that same year we had the rail line opened up and we started running passenger service here. What I can say about the museum and our equipment is that although we call ourselves the Nevada County Narrow Gauge Railroad Museum, there's not a lot of original Nevada County Narrow Gauge Railroad equipment left, due to it being dismantled during World War II. And so we're lucky to have one of the original locomotives. We do have a lot of logging railroad equipment. We were fortunate that the West Side Lumber Company operated until 1961, and a lot of this equipment was still around for us to acquire and restore.
You can imagine, or possibly you can't imagine, the myriad of complex issues that a child faces in terms of is the child being rejected by a parent, or is the parent just unable to care for the child? What's the complexity of really going to school or going out with your friends not properly cared for, not properly fed, not properly dressed? How about the whole parentification of a child that can see a parent failing, and what can they do about it? It's really hard to imagine what does go through the mind and the heart of a child in this complex situation.
Foothills Truckee Healthy Babies is an evidence-based home visiting program model. A home visitor forms a really healthy, long-lasting relationship with the family and teach parents how to understand their baby at every single stage of development.
A CASA is a court-appointed special advocate, a community volunteer who works with children who have been removed from home because of abuse and neglect, and who have open cases in the dependency court system.
Our puppet shows teach some very important information. Stranger danger for our little preschoolers. And then we teach touching safety, a green, yellow, red light touch, which is the vocabulary that we use. It's easy for children to understand. And then we also teach anti-bullying skills. I coordinate with all public schools and most charter schools here in Nevada County.
It's when they're getting bullied or when they're getting assaulted or touched, they don't really know how to handle it. And I think that's a big problem where we're trying, child safety puppeteers, we're trying to teach them to speak out, it's okay, you won't get in trouble, and I think they're scared.
I'm really grateful for the program because it really allows children to have a voice, and I have had children over the years come to me and say, I think I'm having a red light touch at my house, and what can we do?
I've been doing this for 35 years, so one trend that everybody my age has noticed is when we were practicing, we were dealing a lot with medical issues. We now are dealing with many more mental health issues, particularly with the stresses on family, in adolescence, depression, anxiety.
I've been reading a lot of research lately that says the number one factor in resilience for kids, in building resilience, is having a warm, positive relationship with a caring adult in their life. Parents who may not have had that have an opportunity to build that kind of relationship with their home visitor, and then have the ability to build that kind of relationship with their child, which will carry forward through the generations.
A CASA's role is to be there for the child.
A CASA is, in my humble opinion, the equivalent of a precious gem.
They write court reports, they're the child's friend, they are there throughout the entire dependency case.
They fit into this system because a judge needs the best possible information he or she can have.
They help the social worker get information that otherwise we wouldn't have.
What is in the best interest of a child or the children? Well, who better to help a judge make that decision than someone that is able to spend quality time with that child and with that family?
The CASA worker is involved in the child's life practically every week, and sometimes it helps us move in a direction with the case that we otherwise wouldn't move in, because they can give us information that we otherwise wouldn't have.
So you can understand how that kind of information from a trained CASA can be critical to helping a judge make a pivotal decision concerning what is best for this particular child and family.
There's somebody who takes an interest in them personally, and they give them the self-esteem that they need to say, this is something that happened to me, but this is not who I am.
So if you want to have about the biggest impact you could possibly have for a child, for a family, for your community, be a CASA.
We are here for a very short period of time. My goal is to make sure that the impact that I create, it's a good one for future generations. My name is Javier Zamora, and I'm a farmer, and I own JSM Organics. We grow lots of strawberries, vegetables, and flowers, all organic. My farm is located in Monterey County, about 3.5 miles away from the coast. What makes this area really unique is our weather conditions. This is a strawberry land where Mother Nature allows us to grow these beautiful fruits. My ranch that I now own is a 200-acre ranch, and 120 of those acres are part of a conservation easement. If I didn't have a partner like the Alcorn Slough Foundation that put in the money to have an easement on my property, it would have been really difficult for me to own a piece of land. And what's a farmer with no land? It's like having a painter with no canvas. How do I manage a farm this size organically? We allow Mother Nature to do its thing, and we're not pushing things in a way that would jeopardize the flavor, because we don't use any chemicals. Conventional people would spray for those insects. We actually vacuum them. We have a vacuum that is mounted on a tractor, that it goes above the canopy of the strawberries, and it actually gives those bad beetles a ride for their money. About 2 years ago, I was approached by a packaging company. They had developed a new way of packaging strawberries or different vegetables with no plastic. Immediately I say, yes, this is it. My customers are going to be very happy with this. We don't need any more plastics to be dropped in the ocean or landfills. This is a beautiful package that you can go ahead and throw it in your compost pile, but it's definitely not going to be in the ocean. My philosophy about workforce is that people need to be happy and get paid well for what they're doing and what they're contributing to, in this case, the farm. I'm really happy to say that my employees get at least $2 to $3 more per hour than what some people around would pay them. So we have employees that are really happy, and we get people that are really eager to come and work for the farm. Can't think of, how sad the past was or why didn't I start farming immediately when I came to America. That's just the path that destiny had for me. Now that I own a farm and I can have lots of people being fed out of it, makes me extremely happy.
Bye, cutie. I'm gonna miss you today. Be good.
Honey, you can miss her in 30 minutes when you drop her off.
What?
We talked about this. I have to be into work early today, and daycare's on your way, not mine. Look, I can't be late to work today.
I haven't sold a house in 3 months. I need someone to buy something.
Things come in waves, man. You know that. Oh, I meant to tell you, Ellie was working on closing that big home on Whittier Road, the one by the lake. Well, she got a call from Whittier Road.